Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 2024 Solar Eclipse Roundtable. This is such an exciting event. We have 8 astrologers here that practice constellational astrology. We're all going to introduce ourselves real quick. I will start. My name is Dr. Danny Inman. I'm a physician astrologer. I have been studying astrology for about 5 years in depth now, and I practice and I do readings for people, and I have a YouTube channel as well. I also teach astrology, and it was sort of my flash insights to gather the smartest people I know in this field to come together and to share with you all their expertise in astrology, especially around the eclipse, because there's been so much out there in the news media and in social media that is conspiratorial and scary and all of that, when we're actually about to witness a lifetime, once in a lifetime event here, at least in the Americas. So we have some brilliant minds from all the way across the United States from 4 different time zones that are here to share with you their amazing knowledge about the eclipse. On my screen, I have to my left Miss Julie Sherwood, who is handling all the technical aspects of this. I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell you about her.
Well, hello, everybody. Yes, I'm clicking buttons, and I'll be calling out any of the Facebook comments. So those of you on live watching us, we'll call out questions as we can. We're going to try to keep this to about 90 minutes max, because we all know you have lives out there, and there's a lot of this out there. So we want to keep your attention. I have a website, yourbesthopeswc.com, Your Best Hopes Wellness Coaching, which I do through the stars and other modalities. I also have a YouTube channel, and I'm happy to be a part of this group. So Danny.
Thank you, Julie. I got Michael to my other side over here.
Hey, I'm Michael. I am an astrologer, and my site is oneskyastro.com. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for coming. All right, and then I have Don Tack. Go ahead, Don. Introduce yourself. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Hello, my name is Donald Patak. My last name is Polish. It means bird. So if people call me Don Bird and you see that, that's really me. My site is Freedom Through Astrology, and that's THRU because it is all about you. And I read and I practice evolutionary astrology. And that's what that means is that your life is a journey and I can help you navigate it to success. Thank you.
Wonderful. And Lotus Dawn.
Hi, y'all. Coming to you live from California. I was actually taught astrology by my mama. She taught me all about the truth of the stars from a real early age. And I got inspired to want to share this with you all. So if you want to learn more about what I do, you can find me at blossomwithlotus.com. It's all about finding that nugget of sacred knowledge that allows us to unleash into our full potential. And I am so excited to be here today. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. I'm so excited you're here too. I love your energy. Miss Maria, tell us about you.
I'm Maria Schumacher. I write a daily astrology blog on a Facebook page called Cosmic Reflections and on the Radical Astrology page. I also have a little website called venus-13.com. I like to refer to myself as a star reader more than an astrologer, but that's just me. So I kind of take the vibe of the chart every day and blurt back out what I think it's trying to say to us. So I'm really honored to be here. Thank you, Danny, for having me and having us all here.
Thank you so much. River, tell us about you. Tell us what you do. I love your writing.
Oh, thank you. And I'm gonna be like just frank. I have to come back and forth. I've been on my feet all day and I just got home, so I'm gonna have to come back and forth. But being comfortable is just what has to happen. But yes, and I love the stars. I study the stars. I love writing about the stars. I love stargazing. That's probably my favorite. And so, yeah, I'm really passionate about connecting to the actual sky and also putting it into words and connecting with people and helping them discover the stars in particular in their charts. So Yeah, my website is riverofstarsastrology.com. Excited to be here with you all.
Awesome.
My
Thank you. Thank you.
one other little thing, if my eyes are a little strange, my camera is a bit off. So I'm looking down at you all, but my camera's above me. So it's just gonna,
You look
it's
great.
eclipse time.
You look great. You look great. It's perfect. And Verone, last but not least, tell us about you.
Well, hello, I am Verone. And first of all, I'm very stoked to be here. I'm feeling extremely positive today. My main mission in life, it's coming through very loud and clear. I really am focused on people remembering their souls and being empowered. And I utilize Chinese medicine, which I'm a licensed acupuncturist, 13 sign astrology, and my oracular visioning. We are comprised of the same fundamental elements that were birthed in the bellies of the stars, that seeded out and made our bodies, our blood, our DNA. And when we're able to utilize the star medicine in the stars and in our chart, we really can unlock very powerful healing within ourselves. So yeah, I kind of synthesize a lot of things together to, bring back the like star beings that are inside of us. So yes, if you want to find me, I am at VeroneOracleAcupuncture.com, and my Instagram is Starship Moonbeam. Yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome. So what do you say we pull up a chart? Take a look at it. See what's happening. I'll be the first. I can share first.
Okay.
I thought what might be fun is to just kind of take a look at the energy here. I mean, I don't aspect the stars, so if somebody else wants to aspect or put the asteroids up there, please feel free to do that. But what I noticed first of all, was that everything's just on one side of the sky. It's like all in Pisces, and it's flanked by this Saturn, Mars energy in Aquarius, and Jupiter, Uranus energy in Aries, and then Pluto's over here in the darkness, just kind of changing everything. So, I thought we would, I feel like the main event of this is going to be Lotus and River and Michael and Dawn talking about the lunar nodes, what this means for us as a collective, because you guys seem to be you have a lot of expertise on it, what it means for us as persons and what it means for us as a collective. And so maybe we'll do the other energies, and then we'll do that sort of in the middle. And then if we have time, we might take it through the houses for you guys. I know mine's in the 11th house, so that's a specific energy just for me. So if your Pisces is, for example, in the 7th house, then that's a different energy for you. So just to make it a little bit more personal for those that are watching this. So Maria, since you are our star reader daily, would you like to go first and just kind of talk about the patterns? Maybe you could share your screen and see what you see on your.
Oh man. Okay. Sure. Okay.
I'm sorry. I just felt like you were the one that should kind of just take it away.
All right.
So I'll stop sharing and let you share yours.
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay. So, okay, I have to hit a button and talk at the same time, which is hard, you guys. Bear with me.
You're doing great. Awesome.
Screen is loaded. Okay, can y'all see that?
Yes,
Can.
The chart. So, anybody who reads me a lot knows that I loves me a quintile, right? I've come into quintiles recently. We've got a lot of them going on with this eclipse. First thing that I want us all to notice is that the sun and the moon are also exactly conjunct Chiron, like exactly. So this is a 3-planet mashup right there to the degree, 29, 29, 29. What does that signal? To me, that is a big old signal that all of the wounds that we're getting right now, all of the pain, all of the trouble, all of it is working for our better. It's a great opportunity for healing. All of the wounds we're getting right now are healing old ones from the past. Everything like DNA level coming up to be healed right here in the waters of Pisces, where this eclipse is happening. Second thing I just want to mention quickly, over here in Aries, this is the other really big deal. Jupiter and Uranus are coming together in conjunction. They're going to be just about 2 degrees apart. They're coming together, so that conjunction is getting strong. Why is that a big deal? It's a big deal because this makes this super, but there's nothing scary or bad. There's nothing to worry about this eclipse, you guys. It's really, really exciting. Jupiter and Uranus are a couple of huge benefic planets. Just they give benefits. And when they come together like this, A, it doesn't happen very often, and B, really cool things come out of it. But it's often misread as scary and terrible because Uranus is unorthodox, right? Like unorthodox. So if we break it down to Jupiter expands and Uranus tests. People would say Uranus destabilizes, Uranus tests. So he's going to be testing, experimenting, pushing boundaries, demolishing limits. That's what he does. But all from a humanitarian and idealistic point of view. Okay? So Jupiter conjunct something gives you more of that is. And this is like really basic stuff. And all these smarter people than I will expand on this as this video goes on. But so what we get with Jupiter conjunct Uranus is more of that creative thinking and breaking down all sorts of old things that are not serving the purpose of the life that we want to live. So if we have any idea of the life that we want to create for ourselves, now is the time. If you haven't had an idea, get an idea, because there's that energy out there that is going to be able to manifest crazy good things. There's a saying that, those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it. I'm going to take that one further and say that those who don't have imagination beyond history are doomed to repeat it. If we can't think of anything better than what we've had already, then we're not going to go anywhere. This energy, Uranus plus Jupiter coming together in quincunx to the south node. I'm sorry, in quintile, down to the south node. You see that there? Boom, 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 boom. Uranus, south node, galactic center, back up to Uranus. Genius level creative energy. An opening for genius level creative energy to help us finally heal all that DNA stuff from way back that we've never been able to get out of before, right? We can dream our way out of it now and bring it on into manifestation, because Jupiter and Uranus, where are they headed? Into Taurus. What's Taurus about? Manifestation, the earth, bringing it into manifest reality. So I want to point that out real quickly. That conjunction is also connected to the eclipse via a quintile to the south node and a semi-sextile to the sun, moon, and Chiron. So creative, 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 openings, 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 genius level, genius level, genius level. And that's my big takeaway from this eclipse to start us off. Nothing but good, big, 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 crazy inventive. Dave and Big Pop.
I love it. And you can be brave too in Aries, right? I mean, that's like faith in the self, faith in the metamorphosis of the self. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was just going to also mention that Saturn and Mars are over there in Aquarius. They're doing a quintile as well, almost the same energy. It looks like a yod, but it's like it's a quintile yod almost, and it's pointing right down to that south node. Saturn and Mars are like stepping on the gas and the brakes at the same time. You want to go, that Mars is just ready. It's like, yes, let's do this. Let's bring in the Aquarian age. And Saturn is like, easy. Let's be responsible. Let's take care. Let's make sure all of our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted. And, we are, Saturn also crystallizes, right? I often, when I teach people about Saturn, I say that Saturn attains enlightenment by realizing he builds his own prisons. So, all the conscious and unconscious decisions that we make crystallize the reality around us. And so, how are we going to crystallize that reality? What are the conscious choices that we're going to make? And to have that over that drive and that passion that Mars has is really, really nice. Now, you could look at this in a kind of a bad way too. This could look like military energy, but it's more of just a structured energy that's moving forward into the Aquarian age. I mean, I love that. That's fantastic. All right, River, I know you were going to talk about Mercury. Do you want to jump in here and talk about that a little bit?
Do
Mercury
you
and
guys want me to
Eris.
keep this up, or should I stop?
Keep it up. It's perfect.
Okay.
And River, you're on mute, my friend. We always have to have one bingo chip on the board for that.
Thanks.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Julie.
No worries.
No, what I don't know that I'm moved to talk about Mercury at this moment, to be honest, but I wanted to just add follow that train about Jupiter and Uranus, and just like I just wanted to say something about, this conjunction's happening at the end of Aries. Like this has been a journey for, Jupiter's been roughly a year, not exactly, in Aries, but Uranus in Aries has been, I don't know the exact number of years offhand, but this has been a time, and this is the end of these Mars-ruled stars. So I think the conjunction happening and the eclipse capturing this, with the conjunction so close, it perfects, to my calculations, 420. It's easy to remember. According to geocentric coordinates, which is what I utilize, it's a 420 conjunction. And I just want to so these are the last lessons of Aries, of the Ram, and just the shift into Taurus. That's just massive. And that both the planets are going to be doing it at roughly the same time. And I always think about that cusp of Aries into Taurus. That's where the alignment to algal begins. So it's going to be a very, very passionate time, I believe, with this very revolutionary, expansive energy. And it's just going to be such a palpable shift into Taurus themes. And, our resources, those earth things, their finances, the earth itself, the land, like farming, agriculture, but also this alignment to algal. It's going to be like Uranus for the rest of the year is going to just hover right around algal with the retrogrades and everything. So just really bringing in the wise serpent goddess, Medusa. Medicine, that which pings back to the Chiron piece. The fact that this eclipse is exactly conjunct Chiron, again, geocentrically to the arc minute, that is wild to see, to me, to see the sun and the moon for this almost 4.5 minute eclipse over the United States, is exactly conjunct Chiron, who is like the bridge to other dimensions, to healing, but also to our pain. I think so many of us are feeling pain personally, collectively. We may have different causes, but we're being hit at our heart's core. And in Pisces, just this humanitarian crisis of being alive in this moment. And so I think this is really, really powerful. And what else I would say about that is that the United States is not only in its Pluto return for this eclipse over the United States, the first in its history, the United States is also in orb of its Chiron return with a Chiron eclipse, total solar eclipse, exactly conjunct Chiron. So that's what is coming through at this moment. and I'll pass the baton.
Awesome.
Could I
Thank
could
you.
I
Thank
tag
you.
on
Yeah,
something to what you
for
said, River?
sure.
I don't have a date for when Uranus came into Aries, but it has been a journey, and I could date it like in my sort of I can take it back to the Uranus ingress to Aries because Notre Dame burned like inexplicably. Notre Dame that was Uranus's ingress into Aries, and then like 2 weeks later, this really old church in Brooklyn also burned to the ground. And I've don't want to take too much time and dwell on that, but it is interesting that right now Neptune is 1/4 around from the galactic center, sort of starting a new phase of experience, a new phase of Neptune. So I don't know what's in store if a new religion is cooking up, but I think it has been like a very impactful journey that Uranus has been on, and I just wanted to give voice to that.
Awesome. Anybody else want to say anything about any of the other planets? I think if someone wants to talk about Mercury, it's retrograde during the eclipse, which I think is very interesting. When Mercury's retrograde, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you've got the sun and then you've got Earth right here. And then I'm sorry, it's terrible drawing. And then you've got Mercury in front of the sun. So Mercury's kind of going to do a little bit of an eclipse dance too, where it's going to go in front of us, between us and the sun. So, Mercury's intense. Mercury can mess people up. That transmission of energy going right into your brain can make you distracted. It can make you, forget your keys. It could make you, not understand what other people are saying, which is why it's really good we're doing this meeting before Mercury goes retrograde, which will happen on Monday. And then what I also noticed about Mercury was that when it's going to swing around the node area again and then go back towards Aries. So it's going to not leave Pisces at all. It's doing its whole retrograde transit through Pisces.
I'm gonna
It's
jump
also
in.
making a 1-minute conjunction to Eris. So
Yeah,
add
that's
that to the Mercury
that's a big one.
iterate.
Yeah, I was gonna jump in real quick because in the chat, Jerry had made a note, said early 2018 was roughly when Uranus came into Aries. So thank you for that, Jerry.
Right.
And then
2015,
2018, early
2018.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if all the panelists can see the chat because I put a couple questions in there, but we'll pop those up as time comes in. And then River, I put in the synastry chart for the US Sibley chart against the eclipse. So if there's something that strikes you there, if you can see it, that would be great to note that. But one quick comment I wanted to make was the notability of Mars being in Uranus and Uranus being in Aries. So they're in each other's stars that that they rule. So there can be a nice symbiosis in that energy when they're crossing each other, so to speak, holding down each other's houses.
Yeah.
So, Danny, who's up next?
Hey, does anybody want to talk about Neptune and Venus?
I actually have. Oh, go ahead, Donald.
I was going to say something about Mercury, but Lotus, why don't you go first? Ladies before gentlemen.
All right, this is bubbling over, so please bear with me here. So I want to add that today that we're choosing to do this event is on Good Friday. Okay, and so this, of course, relates to Jesus and the path of the martyr and will lead into Easter Sunday. So I just thought this is a phenomenal timing because I think it really speaks to a really big phenomenon going on here. And if we could go back to the eclipse chart just for a moment.
That's us right now, the chart of when we chose to do this.
Yeah, so if we could go back to the eclipse, what is culminating here with this Mercury in retrograde? And what I feel in my heart, okay, is that Pisces, right? We have the wounded healer, we have the sun, we have the moon, we have the sun-moon midpoint, actually, all in Pisces on that day. We're speaking to the heart space. And if we look at Jesus as the epitome of a Piscean type energy, a martyr, a spiritual teacher, someone who had spiritual gifts so profound that he was martyred on the cross. And then we look at Mercury being retrograde on this day when we have so much Piscean energy coming together. It feels, and then I looked at it again, Mercury is actually pretty close to an opposition to Regulus, which is the heart of the lion, which according to some circles is the actual birthday of Jesus. Now, I'm not Christian. I'm not religious. However, I do think that there's power in story. I think there's power in what we've been, hearing from these many ancient stories. These religions have food for thought, okay, whatever your calling is. And so Mercury opposite the heart of the lion, okay, in retrograde. This is what I feel, intuit as an intuitive healer and channel, is that we are being called to get past the mind. In fact, we will not be able to think through this eclipse with our mind. We will have to think through this through our hearts. We will have to feel our way through this. We will have to intuit. We will have to dance, sing. We will have to move our bodies and shake and feel, because of course, having that wounded healer there, there's so much coming up. There's so much coming up that you want to just shake it out. Okay. And if you're watching this, I want everyone to have permission. Give yourself permission from now to the eclipse and after this whole year with the destiny point in Chiron to friggin' let it out. Okay. Just let it out. Let the emotion out. Feel it, because the Mercury in retrograde tells me the eclipse points are a little bit like getting permanence. Would you agree? Like that moment in time, that eclipse kind of sets a mood for maybe the next 6 months. And so I get the sense that for the next 6 months, we're being asked to get into our intuitive, our receptive, and our divine feminine self. And I would also add that because Uranus is going out of Aries and into Taurus, it's on its way out, we're leaving behind the paradigm of this strong masculine yang energy, and we're going into the yin waters and the yin earth, the grounding, the nourishment, the fertility. We're being called back to the garden, y'all. We're being called out of our heads, back to what's tasteable, touchable, feelable. And I think that it would really support all of us, me included, to remind ourselves as we go through these waters of waves of energy and emotion with this upcoming eclipse, with Mercury being in retrograde, to not be afraid, but to give yourself more time to pause, to do the big pause, right? Of like, how do I feel? What's happening? How can I be more present? How can I allow what's coming up to let go? And so I kind of just want to love you all, because this feels like such a heartfelt, profound moment for all of us to kind of be together and to acknowledge that what are we healing here, right? What are we healing? The depth of what we're maybe healing on a collective level, and that we're maybe shifting from a masculine paradigm is what comes through to a more feminine led, intuitively led perspective. And I'll share more about that. I know I'm taking up quite a bit of time here, but this was bubbling over me, out of me. And I have Mercury in Pisces. And I was like, I have to speak to this, because my whole life I have struggled with expressing myself. Mercury in Pisces. I'm like, people don't understand me. I speak a different language. Mercury in Pisces speaks a different language. So if you're in the rational mind, if you're logical, right, this may be a time to pursue music or art or some other form of expression so that you can express yourself through such a powerful gateway. I mean, I get shivers. I just feel like we're leaving behind an old paradigm. That's what I feel. Like I keep feeling that, like we're going into something so new. So much more to say, but please, someone else take the baton, and just so happy to be here sharing space with all your beautiful hearts.
I just want to pop in the comment that Jerry posted about tagging off what you said, Lotus, about this weekend and it being Good Friday. Granted, those that are in Australia, it's already Saturday, but we are broadcasting on our Friday. And that the moon will cross Scorpio into a fucus this weekend. Transformation, death, rebirth. Talk about prophetic, right? Absolutely. And then I noted at the time that I popped in the comment, we had 14 people watching live plus us 8, 22. Talk about a nice master number there. So we're now up to 15 watching. So hello, everybody out there. But at any rate, there you have it. Danny, back to you, my friend.
Go ahead, Don. You're going to talk about.
Like kick in a few things. I take a I'm liking a lot of what I'm hearing. This is really great. just a little bit about Mars and Saturn and Aquarius. You know, Aquarius is about you becoming authentic. Mars having the courage to do it. Saturn to me is that grandfather that takes you to the amusement park and says, pick something, let's do it. Saturn wants to get stuff done. So those two together in Aquarius is like, let's, you know, in Saturn, if you do the work, rewards greatly. You know, this right here on the, I'll go from the fringes and then to the center. Saturn, Mars in Aquarius, have the courage to be your authentic self and expect to be rewarded for it. On the flip side of the coin, in Aries, you have Jupiter, which is about opportunity, and Uranus. Uranus is, and I think it was Maria that was saying that, you know, pushing the boundaries. Uranus wants is your plan to become your individual and authentic self. So you do have this little dance between all that going. So it's embracing the courage to see these opportunities just to be you and do it. So there's a lot of nice receptive energy there where they're both, the fringes are working together and kind of pushing in, say, pardon that, I know they're not all retrograde, whatever, but it's kind of like, those are your two nice bookends. Be your authentic self here. And I think those are the two nice bookends. When we jump into the center, and I do evolutionary astrology, I do put quite a bit of focus on the nodes. And the key thing with the nodes is to understand where it is in your birth chart. So, and just to keep it kind of simple, South node is how you hold yourself back. If I were doing your karmic chart, and you believe in past life, I would be telling you a story about your past life, and that's how you're healing. So right now in its journey, it's in Virgo, which is about perfection and unrealistic expectations and impossible standards. And so for me, what the South Node is showing you is it's showing you in your life where you're holding yourself to an impossible standard. We get our kit. Oh, not on that foot, not on that foot. We have our kitten commercial. This is Ghost. I get those during my recordings. The kittens like to jump on my lap for some reason. But that's how you hold yourself back. But then we have this giant cluster of energy here. You've got the sun, which is your ego. You came here to learn to have a healthy ego. Conjunct with the moon, your soul is also transiting moon can also be about the journey of healing. So this is, you know, right there. There, those two things together with Chiron, and Chiron is also about the deep healing. So you have this great, the Scrabble word here is syzygy. And if you get that on triple word space, you're golden for winning the game. But you have that deep moment of healing. The North Node is right there. This is a destiny mark. So this is an intention for you to have this deep healing in life and in Pisces so that you can release it. You know, Pisces is about being able to see things from a higher perspective. So you're now able to understand this journey you're going on and saying, okay, I can let this garbage go, but this is the stuff that really matters. And I can hang on to this. And this stuff is here's the wheat, here's the chaff. Throw out the chaff, keep the wheat, you know, to borrow the a little biblical illusion there. And then Mercury. Mercury in evolutionary astrology is about how you learn. It's about how you communicate. And I'm going to communicate to the kitten to stay on my lap. This one for some reason likes to climb on me. This is Ghost. I have a hard time telling Ghost and Shadow apart because Shadow's the mom, Ghost is the child, and they're identical. The only way to tell them apart is Shadow has cataract in her eye. But with Mercury there, Mercury's about learning and communication. Now it's in retrograde. So retrograde is you're reflecting on how do you learn? How do you communicate? About what? It's conjunct your sun. It's about your ego, yourself. How are you learning about yourself? How are you communicating yourself? And then the same thing about your soul, your emotions. How are you when oh gosh, please don't step on that. How are you communicating your soul's needs? You know, how are you learning about yourself and what are you learning about yourself? And then we're going to throw Chiron about that. You know, if someone steps on your toes, are you able to say that? Don't step on my foot like that, please. I'll put you down on the ground. So It's reflecting on your learning and reflecting on your communicating. And are you able to see these things and communicate these things? What else did I have in my notes here? Hold on. Also, I have in my notes here, it's about opening your mind to new possibilities. Are you, when opportunity comes forth, and we've got Uranus right there. You got Mars and Saturn in Aquarius. You got Uranus in Aries with Jupiter. Are you receiving the messages that they're giving you? Are you listening to what they're saying and being open to those ideas? And are you willing to learn? And let's see, my other notes here. I have to write everything down. Otherwise, I will just go on forever. It's reflecting on your spiritual insights and spiritual learnings, your internal truths, your personal truths, your own deep truths. And it's also learning from private practices. So this is to dovetail some spiritual things on. Learning from meditation, your spiritual practices, whatever they are, but privately. So it's, what are you learning from your personal spiritual practices? So that's tying Mercury into all that. So I'm going to keep it on the upside. I always talk about the shadow, and maybe later on, when we get through, everybody gets a chance, I can share a little bit about that, so to warn people about being on the other side of the coin. But for the positive side of that, I think there's a great opportunity during this eclipse for people to actually learn about themselves and learn about who they really are. And I'm going to leave it at that so that other people can chime in. But yeah, I think Mercury's going to, in addition to everything else, I think Mercury's going to play a pivotal role in helping people to learn about themselves. And there we go. Thank you.
Awesome. I haven't heard from Verone yet. Where's Verone?
Hi, I'm here. Hi. So, oh my gosh, everything that everyone's saying, I feel like I'm here as the grand synthesizer to kind of bring it all together. So, when we're working with Pisces, as we have this eclipse on April 8th in the Pisces constellation, not only are we working with the Pisces energy on the zodiacal wheel, we're also working with Cetus below and Pegasus above. It's hard for me to separate the constellations above and below the ecliptic because everything's working together, and that energy is coming on to the zodiacal wheel in order for us to make sense of it. So, Pisces is this energy, of course, of like boundlessness, dreams,
Verone, real quick, but I don't want to interrupt you, but can someone show the sky where Cetus is?
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Oh, yep. Stopping, sharing.
I was just thinking that too.
Yeah.
Especially for those people who are listening or watching on replay later who may not have a visual concept of what that looks like.
Do you guys want me to share? I can share it.
I don't have it prepared.
Oh, I can find Stellarium. Hang on. Let me do that first.
Good.
And I'm so sorry. You keep going, Verone. You're on a roll.
Okay.
I'm going to get this up for you.
Okay. Yeah. And so, when we're working with this energy of Pisces, everything that everyone said, like boundless, dreams, creation, maybe being able to communicate different way, connecting to our heart center, all of this, we also have to remember like Pisces is like this void space. Pisces is like the abyss at the top of the tree of life. We're crossing this place that sometimes can feel very confusing and clouded, but as we get through it, we're getting closer and closer to that like divine mother and father, or the primal movement, as we get to the closer to the top of the tree of life. And so we really have this opportunity to understand deeper layers of ourselves as we have Cetus below, the primordial sea beast. It's been seen as a whale, it's been seen as a serpent, it's been seen as a shark. And that Cetus energy is really going to take us down into the depths. It's going to take us into the subconscious and into the unconscious, individually and collectively. We have to do this. We have to go into the unconscious places within ourselves in order to recover ourselves, in order to resurrect ourselves, in order to wake the sleeper. You know, we've got so many hidden gems within us that have been buried for, you know, thousands and thousands of years. We're talking about the past, not just the past of this life into our childhood, but past lives back into generations, you know, like Maria was talking about. You know, there's a lot of healing at a DNA level. Well, like, what does that even mean? You know, DNA, it really can express in a lot of different ways. That's what epigenetics is. Like, you may have a gene for alcoholism, or that gene for alcoholism could turn into a gene to like become like the greatest musician, you know? So there's a lot of ways that things can express. And when we're able to go into the depths of the whale, into the belly of the whale, into like the primordial waters of the sea serpent, whether you see the sea serpent as like Tiamat, whether you see it as Cetus, as Medusa's mother. You know, we are 13 sign astrologers. We're working with Ophiuchus, we're working with the snake, we're working with the serpent, we're working with the dragon. That's what eclipses are, dragon energy. You know, you're able to find more parts of yourself. Now, I know that shadow work, we talked a little bit of the shadow. You got to do the shadow work. You can't overlook the shadow work. You can't stay unconscious to yourself, or you're going to make very unconscious choices. The more you can make the unconscious conscious, the more you're going to be able to bring in what you truly want, instead of running these same programs and patterns that we've been doing for our entire life. So with Cetus, we're like diving into the depths. This is why it's so mandatory. If you have a feeling coming up, if you have an emotion coming up, don't shove it back down. Don't drink it away. Don't shop it away. Don't fuck it away. Like, really be present with it, because energy in motion, emotion, it wants to move through you so that you can remember who you truly are. We've been taught since birth to be everybody but ourselves. You know, the shoulds of what we should do, the like all the programs that we've been in, like what society pressures, like none of that is getting us to the core of ourselves. But the dive into this, the waters of Cetus will. So as we dive into those waters of Cetus, bring it back up through Pisces, we've got Pegasus above, the winged horse. The winged horse, also the child of Medusa, like back to the serpent energy. Pegasus has been seen coming out of the beheaded head of Medusa, but I see, because I work with Medusa as a whole goddess, I see Pegasus as like the third eye vision of Medusa, like the consciousness of the deity. And Pegasus is fast. It's a flying horse. It's like a lightning bolt. It's a bolt bus. It's time travel. And the way that I feel like we have been approaching time travel as a collective, like, no, are we just going to end up back in like 1802 or 1501? Probably not. It's too physical in that way. But we can time travel based upon our inner belief system. When we're able to fully heal on a deep level, remove those blocks, make the unconscious conscious, we have access to that part of ourselves, that soul, that like star seed, that we reclaim the junk DNA, and we then can create an entirely new world. You know, for example, if you wake up in the morning and you're like, I hate life, everything sucks, you're probably going to have a bad day. And if that's your entire life, then like you might not have a great life. But if you wake up and you're like, hey, I'm worth it, I'm worthy, I'm going to heal the wounds that were put upon me as a child, I'm going to get to the root, I'm going to pull it out, you're going to be able to create the life that you want. And you definitely open yourself up to new timelines. As people talk about timeline jumping, you put yourself on a different time coordinate on the timeline spiral, and you collapse those timelines, you collapse the karma, you collapse the Akashic records, you collapse those old things in order to bring in what you truly desire. You know, and with this eclipse, like to the arc minute, like River said, conjunct Chiron, that is just so much power. Chiron, the glyph, is a key. Like, we want to unlock the doors of the matrix so the matrix can bust open and completely like collapse down completely. You know, this is us shifting on such a massive level. And even Chiron studied from Apollo and taught Asclepius using Medusa's blood as the medicine. And Apollo studied from the oracles. So like, and Apollo's temple was where it's a temple of Delphi, the serpent oracle or the pythoness or the pythia. So like for me, everything goes back to the serpent and the dragon energy. That is our DNA, that is our kundalini. There's just so much power there. So I really see, and what I'm being called to for this eclipse, like we're in between eclipses, we're like sandwiched in the eclipse energy, is to really not run from yourself. Like I understand that doing deep healing, doing deep trauma work isn't fun all the time, but it's a lot less fun than living a life that is not your own. It's a lot less fun than making a whole bunch of choices that isn't bringing you joy and happiness. So I just see profound healing on all levels that is coming in with this eclipse. And it's up to us how far we want to go with it. So I'm kind of hearing everybody like kind of say, like, stay in your truth, like listen to yourself, like pay attention to the messages coming through. Mercury with Eris, I really see that as like maybe some of the messages might be intense, as like Eris is the goddess of anarchy, the goddess of discord. But I will also say that I can't see Eris as just the goddess of discord and discordia. I also see her as harmonia, because you can't have discord without harmony, and you can't have harmony without discord. So find that balance point as our centers are shifting and changing, and like know that we're kind of timeline jumping continuously through the day as we reveal new truths about ourselves and heal more on such a deep level. So yeah, move your body, like Lotus said. It's so important. Move it out of your body. You can't think your way through this type of healing and mending. And we're here to be whole beings. We're here to be the stars that we are. And yeah, I'll pass the baton.
I love it. I love everything that you just said. I mean, the whole thing about jumping timelines, you were giving me the chills when you said that, because it's so true. Like if you can go internal, which this energy is just so ripe for, and be with that soul, be with that inner creative spark, it ripples outward. Like you ground that light, and then it ripples outward into reality, and it changes your reality for you. I mean, it really does. It works. Things that you need, things that you want, they will magnetize themselves to you, or you will magnetize them to you. So brilliant.
And there's no
Thank you.
mistake that this nodal axis right now for the collective is Pisces Virgo. There's no mistake in that.
Yeah, I think tropical says it's in Libra and Aries tropical astrology. Yeah.
I just posted a comment on the Facebook. I said, you got to say you won't get this perspective in any other approach than constellational astrology. So just putting it out there.
That's it.
All right. Where's Michael?
He's up at the top of my screen.
I'm right here. Danny, can you stop sharing?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm gonna change lanes. Much love, much respect to everything everyone said, but I'm not gonna try to synthesize much what I want to do is take a look at Saros cycles, these cycles of eclipses, and I just kind of want to say a little, just kind of break that out. So a Saros cycle is about a 1,300 year long series of eclipses. And each eclipse in that series is separated by about 18 years. So the cycle that this eclipse, this April 8th eclipse, is part of, it started in 1501 and it'll wrap up in 2763. And a Saros series, these 1,300 year series, they start at a pole. So if this is the Earth, they could start at the North Pole or they start at the South Pole, but over the period of that 1,300 years, they sort of spiral around. That like when you see a map. Well, I don't want to get into all this visual support, but when you see the path of totality, like we're gonna see it from Newfoundland down to United States into Mexico for this April 8th eclipse. Well, that totality would just start. It would just start at the North Pole. And in fact, I have this chart that from 1501, because I thought it would be really fun to take a look at sequence 1 of this Saros series and kind of look at how Saros series are interpreted. I'm not going to go on, but it's a neat look, and I want to talk about how Bernadette Brady kind of came to her conclusions. I said that the eclipses were 18 years apart, and if you are paying attention, you may know that nodal orbit is 18-year orbit. So every 18 and a half years about we have a nodal return. So what that means is that every eclipse in a Saros series is going to have similarities because it's actually like coming back. It doesn't come back to the exact same point in the sky, but one of the similarities of solar Saros 139, that's this Saros series, is that they're all north node eclipses. All the solar eclipses, and this one are the sun and the moon meeting the north node. And they're all in the territory of like Taurus, Aries, Pisces. Yeah, let's break open this chart. I don't you know, what's the worst that could happen? I'm going to share my screen. All right. So this is a chart that's oriented to 90 degrees north. This is the North Pole where the eclipse started, and you'll notice that the date is 1501. This is the original, the very first North Pole eclipse. And one of the things that people can read the first of a series as an omen, the first in any series, and in like all kinds of world traditions, from the Mayan to the Egyptian to the Vedic, they'll talk about this. They'll say the first of anything is an indicator of the energetic flow that thing's going to have, especially if it's a sequence. So people take a look at like this chart and they'll get an idea, and it's a really good idea. I think it's really accurate about the whole Saros series. So one of the things that Brady says about this, just looking at this chart, I want to go right to her breakdown. She says inventiveness, right? We see Uranus square sun and moon. And she says inventiveness and flashes of genius are the hallmark of this Saros series of eclipses. Now, we have a very close Uranus square. And if you look, you also see that Neptune and North Node are trine exactly, 0, 0, 0, 0. And she goes on to say there can be intuitive leaps, insights, good ideas, visions, or vivid dreams. All these are Neptune North Node things. And their newfound inspiration can pull individuals away from their social life or relationship, thereby causing strain in their private life. And you can say that about Uranus square the light. So in a way, everything we read about these, when we read these like professional prognosis of the Saros series, what people are doing, like professional astrologers like Bernadette Brady, who can take a look at a whole chart and make really quick, like paragraph style pronouncements. They make those pronouncements about the flavor of the whole Saros series, that 1300-year series. So every eclipse that comes up, it has a little of this flavor. So I know that everybody can take a look at any given chart and just deep dive forever. And that's actually, that loses its interest. It's just not interesting after a point. But I want to make 3 observations. Looking at this chart, I have 3 observations. I think Brady was right on, but I see here a really interesting emphasis with the nodes. And I want to start with Pluto South Node, because when Pluto and South Node get together, especially when Pluto's in Scorpio, there is destructive power here. And that's just Pluto South Node thing and a Pluto Scorpion. But it's supported. It's supported here by a yod too, Pluto. So there's a yod to a Chiron Mercury conjunction that's actually super close, and a Jupiter Eris conjunction. And I don't want to go on. I just want to say Pluto's yod. So there's this intense Pluto activity at the South Node. And I see it as the kind of destruction that's related to movement forward, because the nodes always work together. And here on the other side, we have Venus in late Aries, right where this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is going to happen, right over the Venus in the original chart. And that Venus is ruling the nodal axis. When we see South Node in Libra and North Node in Taurus, and we see Venus with the North Node. What this is resonant with is like a great resource. That it's resonant with a great resource that's designed to move things forward in new directions. I say that because of Venus's placement in Aries. I say that because she's making very close relationship to Mars rising. And I say that because Mars at this angle is going to orient the whole chart to brave new directions, new explorations. Kind of the spiritual warrior is Mars in Pisces. And we have a lot of signatures like this. When we look, it's kind of a holographic or a holistic kind of signature that this is about energies that will leave something behind and go off in a new direction. And when Venus is the one going off in the new direction, she does it very gracefully. She's like, Mars goes off in new directions very forcefully, very bluntly. And it's like, get out of his way, please. It's like you're on a New York sidewalk. Just get out of the way. But when Venus goes off in a new direction, she's a little more tactful, very diplomatic, more measured, sensible about these things. So that's the second observation I want to make. And it's kind of a joint observation just about the intensity of the nodes is a Pluto in Scorpio and Venus in late Aries. Another sort of, before I get to the third point that I wanted to make, I wanted to say that right now for the April 8th eclipse, Venus is 0 degrees, 0 arc minutes conjunct this rising Mars in the natal chart of this eclipse series. For the upcoming eclipse, Venus sits right here, exact to Mars. So there's a heavy energy for this eclipse of heading off in new directions, taking bold steps, brave steps, adventurous kinds of turns, new beginnings, and letting things die, right? South node about our past that don't serve us. Now, in order to make those brave leaps, maybe we can't make that leap carrying what we're carrying. So
Michael,
I
can I
see.
jump in
Oh,
real
yeah,
quick?
yeah, jump
Somebody
in.
posted a question, and it's a good question. So we've got the eclipse happening at 19 degrees, 36 minutes Taurus, but the North Node is at 3 degrees Taurus. Can you address that? Why
Oh,
they're,
yeah, this would be when a Saros series starts. It never starts with like a total eclipse. It'll always start with just a shadow. And then when the shadow hits the North Node, that's like or the North Pole. When the shadow hits the North Pole, so these will start with like very wide, very faint penumbral eclipses. And then as you see a Saros series progress into its later sequences, you'll start seeing a series of total eclipses near the middle, and then it'll fade out to more more shadow, like penumbral eclipses
Thank
near
you.
the end. So since this is the very first, you see almost the widest berth between the node and the lights that there could be possible and still be an eclipse.
Thank you, that's helpful. And then Maria posted a comment before we jump, that 1501 was in the beginning of the religious Reformation in Europe.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not even giving you there was connections to the religious Reformation, to the Renaissance, to the to a lot of interesting things. But one thing that I find that's noteworthy here, outstanding, above and beyond all the things that we could deep dive forever, is that these luminaries are on Aldebaran with Saturn. So that's something Bernadette Brady doesn't really address, and that's heavy, if you ask me. And I think that's because she's a tropicalist. She may not have noted the degree of Aldebaran. To her, that's, I think, somewhere in Gemini. And I'm speculating. Don't get me wrong. I don't know how Bernadette Brady thinks, but what I notice is there's a heavy energy with Saturn and Aldebaran of grounding. In Taurus, we're grounding. With Saturn, we're grounding. So this is about taking these wild insights, these Neptunian, dreamy messages, downloads, inspirational flashes of genius and intuitive wisdom. And it's about taking new directions. But what really wants to happen is something akin to stabilization, grounding, setting a cornerstone. If we're getting off in a new direction, if we're heading off and we're going in a direction we've not gone before, we want to anchor that. And I think that's an important part of the energy of this eclipse series. And a great way to get in touch with it is to honor this Saturnian in Taurus. And as we're anchoring it, Aldebaran is going to demand an orientation to personal integrity because of the nature of Aldebaran's power. It's a very powerful star. Just to touch on this very briefly and wrap it up, Aldebaran is a star that promises power, but it promises that that power will bring the person holding it into scenarios where their integrity is tested. The power itself that's given is actually the cause of the integrity test. And people can choose either to orient themselves to personal integrity or to fail. And if they fail, it's a downfall star. The power that Aldebaran gives, it takes away. And it's real famous. It's a famous downfall star. If you look it up, half the sources that you'll look this star up, Aldebaran, Alpha Taurus, the bullseye, Aldebaran, they'll tell you it's a horrible star. And it's not. It's an amazing star, but it comes with a test. So if that is part of anyone's experience with this eclipse, part of the power, the original power of this eclipse is connected to Aldebaran and Saturn closely. And that's all I wanted to present. Thank you, everyone, for taking so much time for me. Appreciate it.
I'm going to read out a couple of comments that came in the Zoom chat because the replay people won't see those. So Maria noted, isn't Venus then right where Jupiter and Uranus are now?
Yes, that's
and then
correct.
The other comment from Lotus was Sun and Moon conjunct Saturn, but now Sun and Moon will be with Chiron. Have we switched from a building structure theme to healing the wounds theme? Wow.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's brilliant. And I want to just show, a chart. Let's see. Oh. I have a multi-wheel of now the inner wheel is the 1501 sequence 1 of this eclipse series, and the outer wheel is April 8th. I don't know which sequence it is, but same eclipse series. Yeah, one of the things we see, Venus and that rising Mars, a lot of Venus activity. This eclipse is like very, very Venus activated. So when we see Venus in the rising position conjunct Mars, and we see this wilds conjunction, I don't know what to call it, this big success signature over Venus, I think this is highly primed for turning new directions, for doing things we've like maybe even wanted to do before but not been able to, or maybe have been able to conceive of but not to really like plant and watch grow. I don't know. How's that sound?
Man, Michael, you just brought my whole life together, like by doing that.
Cool.
Series.
Powerful
I'm not even
stuff.
kidding you.
Cool.
Yeah, my south node is right there where that first 1501 eclipse is. That's where my south node lives. So that's
okay.
super interesting.
So that is right here on Aldebaran.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's it. That is interesting. And all these connections, all these holographic connections, you can kind of get lost in them, but there are some key points like the lights and that Venus Mars stuff. I think it'll show. I think 500 years later, 700 years later, I think it's really likely to be relevant. So
that was
super
amazing.
Cool. Yeah, I hope it's a really nice one for you.
Yeah, thank you.
South nodes, like you never know. Sometimes you get really.
And numerologically, the date is a 22, by the way. I forgot to.
Oh my goodness.
Can I just say something about how I view the Saros series as an analogy? And because as this starts as that penumbral shadow at the North Pole, I see that, that is kind of read it as like a new moon personally. But I see when the eclipses become total eclipses, which is this phase of this great, 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 great grandfather, mother dragon. This is like the full moon. This is the fruition. Pisces rising. Now we have a total solar eclipse in Pisces. And so I see it kind of like that. Like the eclipse is, a flower, the seed to the flower. This is the flowering of the original eclipse, the original dragon. And to be right at Aldebaran, conjunct Saturn, it's also tightly squared Uranus in Aquarius. What a potent place for Uranus. And then the node itself is at Algol, like almost to the exact arc minute to Algol. And where this energy is going with the Jupiter and Uranus, I mean, there are all kind of connections, but like as this eclipse is coming in, I had a really vivid dream about throwing this object at the bullseye. So that's Aldebaran, the eye, the bullseye. Like I also see Aldebaran as our leaders, as our kings, as our, those with authority. And again, yes, integrity is the message of Aldebaran. And where is that integrity lacking? But that eclipse at the royal star flowering now, with that Saturn Uranus tight square, I mean, this to me is going to change our world, our paradigm in a remarkable way as this series continues in its flowering phase.
I looked up 18 years ago, like what happened between the solar and lunar eclipses, and Twitter was founded, and the United Nations General Assembly, they founded like a human rights council or human rights commission. Like, you wouldn't think they would need to, but I guess they were like, oh, probably should think about human rights. I don't have a lot of details and I don't want to sidetrack that, but I want to say that each eclipse has its own different flavor, and it's like its own relationality to that sort of natal chart. I think has a lot to do with the expression, and I love what you were saying, River, because I see like each eclipse as like its own sort of full moon. I don't think there's one eclipse in a series where it's like, oh, this is the one, or this is the it's like they're all just wildly potent. I've always wanted to redo the Brady information because I love to reinvent the wheel. I always wanted to sit down with all 40 of these and just write up paragraphs, but I've never gotten around to it.
Do
Yes,
it,
well,
please.
Can I leap in here with a quick thought?
Please.
Yeah. Do you want me to stop sharing this screen, or would the screen help your
Yeah,
thought?
if you could, because I want to just look and pull up the chart again. Did I leap on anybody else's?
No, as you're pulling it up, I just wanted, as the Oz behind the curtain, we're at about 20 minutes till end. So we just want a time check here. So.
Okay.
And I did have one thing to add to your chart, Michael, that was jumping out really loud. So after this.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Hold
I'll
that
try to
thought.
be.
That's perfect.
I just wanted to leap in here and say that one other thing, as I was just going through notes today for the Uranus and Jupiter aspect of this and the Chiron in Pisces aspect of this. And Michael kind of brought it up, and taking us back to Aldebaran, integrity is another huge component of this, personal integrity. And I think that it's important to remember, and we see this with Aries energy, right? We see this in, I think, the Virgo Pisces nodes too. And we even see it in Venus coming off of a conjunction with Neptune here, is that there's an individual responsibility to create the world we want. So there's, yes, the eclipse can bring change, but Jupiter and Uranus also, I think, want to remind us very strongly that we are responsible for the change that comes out of this as individuals. It's very easy to recognize, okay, I don't like this ruler, I don't like this situation, I don't like that. But until we can imagine what we do want and move bravely toward that, I think that's our Aries and Jupiter with Uranus, sort of, and move bravely toward that. Mars and Saturn too in Aquarius, and move bravely toward that. So we have to be able to take the personal responsibility, going back to that Saros cycle that started with the active Aldebaran, right?
Yeah, the
I
lights on
I
automatic.
give it
Yeah.
the world, or I take it away if I'm not in integrity. I just wanted to throw out there that imagination sparked by the galactic center in contact with the South Node in Uranus, that just there's energy here to help us dream different. That if we really want change, we have to be able to imagine something completely different.
I'm
So
going to tag off what you said, and you and I've talked about this on a couple of our little podcasts.
we talk about everything, girl. We're always talking.
Yeah, stay tuned. We've got another one coming up. Side note. Anyway, but it goes back to one of us in the group, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who said it, but it goes back to being our authentic self, right? Speaking our truth, being our truth, singing the note we were imprinted with at the time we were born, and be that unique one. Because, and I've used this metaphor over and over, if we don't each sing our own unique note, there's discord in the symphony. And we can't get to what the North Node is asking us to do unless we do sing our authentic notes. So anyway, had to interject my 2 cents, Oz, behind the curtain here.
Can I piggyback? Can I, oh, sorry. Can I
Go ahead,
piggyback on
Barney.
that really fast? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes, to all of that. And that's why it's so essential to be able to break down these programs and patterns and wounds that all of us, every single person on this planet, has been burdened and cursed with something, but it doesn't mean that it's a lifelong sentence. So the only way we're going to know who we truly are is to face our fears, face that shadow, and recover those parts of us that we have taken deep inside of the vault or the cave to protect. That's the only way. Otherwise, we will just keep doing the same thing over and over. Exactly. You have to get to the root, or it will continue to grow over and over. That's the only way. Like, our imagination lives inside of our dynamic immortal soul. So, if it's coming up, it's coming out. Face your demons, give them a high five on the way out, and then we'll be able to really create the world that we want, because we're going to be in tune with who we are. We got to know thyself. So that's all. Okay, Lotus, over to you.
Oh, I'm about to burst. I'm so excited. Okay, Michael, would you please share that original chart with us? This is coming
The
through hot.
original?
So
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me get that back. Not the multi-wheel, but the original chart.
No, the multi. This is perfect.
Here you go.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I love this connection of the ancient roots, like Veroni was talking about, getting to the root of it and using our imagination, all this Pisces energy. And I was looking at this composition of the 2 charts, right? The beginning, and now this one we're heading into, this coming full on lunar solar eclipse. Okay. So what I saw and what spoke to me, and as an Aries sun always speaks to me, when I see so many planets lining up to the first house of the original eclipse, so many, our eclipse of this 2024 lining up to the original first house. And it speaks to me, can we stop share for a moment?
Yeah.
To this dynamic between the feminine and the masculine. Okay, the first house energy of Aries, along with the 12th house energy of Pisces. And so I'm going to share screen here. I have a little bit of a presentation I want to share with you all. Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, give me a moment here. Okay. So what year are we in? We're in the Chinese year of the lunar dragon. Yeah? And anyone remember what astrology sign that dragon relates to? Anyone? Aries. Okay, so we have the lunar dragon year in the Chinese astrology system. Why am I showing this picture? Hold on. So we have essentially the coming together at this solar eclipse of the sun and the moon and the sun moon midpoint in Pisces. Sun often represented as masculine, moon often represented as feminine. So we have two coming together, the masculine and the feminine, at this solar eclipse. Then we go back to your chart, Michael, which shows the Piscean energy landing in the first house of the original solar eclipse from the 1500s. What I feel, okay, and bear with me here, is that what we are witnessing with this solar eclipse is the coming together. And notice how in Michael's chart, we have Venus and Mars together again. Now, right? That one and this one. The coming together of the masculine and the feminine, okay? Of a new beginning of the intuitive divine feminine, our imagination, our intuition, the water, the feeling, with this Jupiter, Uranus in the end of Aries, and then those bookends that you were talking about, Donald, of Uranus and Jupiter together, and then we have it the Mars and Saturn together. So we have these two masculine energies on either side of this feminine opening of this gigantic solar eclipse energy. And so I think we may witness this year and in our lifetime the healing between the divine feminine and the masculine polarities, getting out of it being this or that, either or, and getting into how do we support and serve? How does the masculine be that support and that container for the outpouring of that divine feminine goddess Shakti that comes through so beautifully and so bountifully? And then the 22, which also is that 2-2 coming together in partnership. And so beautiful that we have a fairly balanced energy here, female, masculine, coming together, supporting each other. And this doesn't have to be men or women. This is just feminine energy, yin, receptive. And Veroni, you know about that with acupuncture, right? The yin, that need to be full and whole and complete. And then the yang, the action. And I feel like we're completing a cycle, like Michael was sharing with that beginning chart. We're completing this 1500 cycle where we're moving out of structure and discipline, sun and moon with Saturn at that solar eclipse, to now sun and moon. I want to share this, but I have to share this. So sun and moon midpoint. So I like to say that the sun moon midpoint is like if the sun and the moon had a baby, right? And so here's the moon, here's the sun. I love the sun moon midpoint. I think it's our core self. Wherever your sun moon midpoint is, I think that's your essence self. That's the bridging together of the two polarities. And I think it was you, Veroni, you were talking about the mother father energy coming together, like this quintessential root energy of the serpent, right, of Cetus, and then Pegasus. And so I just wanted to end by sharing this story, this mythos from the Greek mythology of Cetus, right? And so in the story, the princess Andromeda claims that she is more beautiful than all of King Neptune's sea nymphs. And he gets really angry and he sends the sea monster Cetus after everyone. Well, he says, chain your beautiful princess up to a rock and sacrifice her, themes of Pisces, sacrifice, martyrdom, sacrifice her to the monster. Well, luckily for her, at the last minute when she thinks all hope is lost, and many of you out there may be relating, maybe this is a time, all this Piscean energy of like being so deeply triggered at such a deep level, and is all hope lost. When Pegasus rides in the heavens, the higher self, the miracle, the blessing, the profound moment, and very handsome masculine energy swoops up and rescues Andromeda and takes her away to be the queen of a new land, increasing her holdings, increasing everything that she has ever wanted or dreamed of in her life. Now, this isn't a rescue myth. This, for me, is talking about the divine feminine and masculine finally serving each other, finally coming into service of each other and the upliftment of humanity. And yes, there is a deep wound here. If you're in any bodied form, female and masculine, us feeling safe to express our divinity, to express our spirituality, to express our dreams has been severely limited. And so I just, from the depths of my heart, I want to invite everyone and all of you here to tune into the miracle of the possibility of what is happening here. That perhaps we are collectively bringing up something so profound that it takes all of us to hold it, to feel it, to allow it, and to let it finally be done. Pisces is the last sign of the constellation. We are done with this. We are finishing this. This is like since the 1500s, Michael, since the beginning of this cycle. How much separation, male and female, have we gone through? So I just feel so much compassion in my heart, and it's Good Friday and Jesus and Easter and this sense of like, it's time to be reborn, right? Aries, Pisces, year of the dragon, Aries, Piscean eclipse, kind of the biggest point of the year, it feels. Masculine, feminine energy, such a healing. And it's not just male, female, it's that intuitive versus action. It's being able to be safe to go into the shadow, to hold space for the depth of it, to truly be okay with what's arising. And I really love all of you so much. Like all of the points of view you've all brought up today. Like, I think this is fascinating. I want it to keep going. This is so beautiful. What a gift it is.
I just want to put one quick note in
Yeah.
when we end. One of the people in the group commented on Facebook that they would like to have us have a clearing of the energy at the end of this. Whoever is called to do it would be lovely. And I wholeheartedly support that as well.
Can I chip in something? Because we forgot a planet. Can somebody bring up a chart?
Hang on, we're getting there.
Okay.
Mercury and Pisces, it doesn't happen quickly.
It happens though. It happens. So
yes, it does.
We've been all clustered up about everything that's happening around the North Node and the South Node. And I'm looking at that, and my favorite little guy who's sitting off in the corner saying, "Yo, what about me?"
Pluto.
Pluto just left Sagittarius not too long ago. Pluto walking through Sagittarius is like you cleaning house. Is this junk or is this something I want to keep? If it's junk, get rid of it. If it's something I want to keep, like keeping my kitten off the keyboard, save it. So now Pluto has just done this grand house cleaning. That's Pluto walking through Sagittarius. He is going to retrograde back into it later this year and then step back out. But right now he's in Capricorn. Pluto in Capricorn. What is it that you do want to build with this stuff that you've saved? So he's in the mix, all hail Pluto. He's there. He's just done this house cleaning, and now he's saying to us, and his challenge to us this year is, what are you going to do with this now? What are you going to build? Capricorn, the great build. What's the great work? Where's your integrity? Two buzzwords, phrases, whatever, for Capricorn, from the evolutionary astrology perspective. What are you going to build with this now? What are you going to do? You just cleaned house. You've got this core essential stuff that's important. What are you going to do with it? So Pluto is even in the mix. I mean, we don't have the aspects chart up, and I'm sure he's making aspect to something, but he's sitting there saying, let's take a look.
Well,
Was it Michael brought that up?
At the beginning of Capricorn, it's like
he's right at the beginning of Capricorn.
It's the start of all of this energy now.
Yeah, so he's been saying, okay, we just cleaned house. Now let's do something with it.
Yep.
And it's going to be a long, oh my gosh, I can't even remember. Somebody told me, had it actually figured out how long it was going to take Pluto to transit all of Capricorn, but it's going to be a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But Pluto is about deep transformation. That's one of the messages of transiting Pluto. Yeah, it's where you have your have a deep wound in your life to heal, but it's also where you do your deepest transformation. Where's little blue Pluto? Pluto is going to be challenging our communication, working, there's an interest in transforming relationship, interest in transforming spirituality. I'm not sure what that square is to.
That's
Michael,
Eris.
that's what?
This is Eris.
Okay, that's Eris. So Pluto and Eris might not. Squares can be building.
Hmm.
Squares can be building as well. They can be challenging, but it's like building strength or making strength. You only get strength if you increase your weight load.
Jerry in the Facebook chat said that Pluto will be in Capricorn till about 2044.
2044. Okay, thank you, Jerry.
Yes,
Nice.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna get us close to calling the question here, but there was the one question that I was gonna fork over to Danny about any comments on babies that will be born under this eclipse. And I know you've been doing eclipse readings and you kind of have a baby background, so it might be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you go back to the basics, right? You've got your sun, which is the expressive, masculine, outward energy. Then you've got the moon, which is the feminine, inward, magnetic energy. So you've got, the whole spectrum of the soul, of the self in one spot. It's also a nice place if you're going to do progressed moons later on for that person's life because they are starting their new progressed cycle on the day that they're born. They don't have to wait years till that cycle begins for them. And so it really just depends on the sign in the house too. I mean, for that particular baby. If it's this particular eclipse, I guess you guys just got a huge natal reading for the babies that are going to be born next Monday. So yeah, I guess it would depend. Yeah. But this was such a fantastic conversation. I think that I appreciate all of you for agreeing to come. It didn't feel hard to get you guys together. I know a lot of people feel like these things are like herding cats, but I really just asked you all once and you were like, sure, let's do this. So I really appreciate it. Every one of you have just such a unique and beautiful insight, and the way that you bring your individual energies to this collective energy is just so incredibly special. And I share Lotus's feelings about, oh, I wish we could go on forever, but we can't. So what I think that we could do is, I really loved your opening, Lotus. If you want to close it, I feel good about you doing that. I got the chills when you did it at the beginning, so we can do that, and then we can close it out and call it a night.
Before we do that, I just want a couple quick housekeeping things. As soon as Lotus is done clearing our energy here and just bringing us back to this beautiful space, at the end of that, I'll stop the live on Facebook, so that those of you who catch this on replay will have an opportunity to see it. So, and then the panel, I'm going to ask you to stay on if you can for a few minutes after the live. All right, take it away, Lotus.
All right, beautiful souls. So glad that you're all here. And what a powerful moment with this eclipse coming up. I feel that we're opening the door here to our highest and best, to manifesting miracles, to manifesting love, to creating light in this world more and more and more. Okay. And so what I'd like to invite you to do is, why don't we clear anything that's not that and just send it on up to source, right? So we're going to take our magical hands, which Veroni knows there's all these amazing meridians and points in the hands, right? In Chinese acupuncture that relate to everything in our body, every organ, everything. Okay, so when we rub our hands together, we are activating all those meridians, okay? So just tune into your body, tune into yourself, tune into anything that got brought up today that maybe feels heavy or sticky or dense or just like, oh, wow, right? Just tune into that. Tune into the collective field. Tune into any energy that is not yours, that no longer belongs to you, that you no longer need, that you may have picked up from the cosmos or who knows where, that you no longer need. And just put it into your hands, build a fire. Ooh, anything and everything preventing all y'all from feeling great, from feeling fine. Let's just send that on up to the light. Yep. Okay, feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it. Anything and everything preventing us from being the cosmic bright star beings of love and light. Let's just send it on up. 1, 2, and woo! Send it on up. Let it go out of your body, out of your cells, out of your being, out of your mind, and just allow beautiful, vibrant, pure light to shower over the crown of your head, shower through all your meridians, shower all your chakras, all your energy systems, just asking that you now be filled up, you be refueled with pure, divine, unconditional love and light, filling you up, healing you from the core. I am love. I am light. I am manifesting divine oneness. Feel that beauty, feel that gift. Bring your hands to your heart, just bow your heads to your head and just feel the gratitude for this moment, for this coming together, for all of humanity setting the intention for love, for peace, for joy, for beauty, for all beings through all directions of time and space. May it be so. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. And then we're going to send it up and shower that blessing out to the universe through all the stars, and just let that stardust shower you with that beautiful radiant light. Woo!
And on that, thank you. Danny, any parting words before we say goodbye?
Have a fantastic eclipse, you guys.
Yes. Yes.
I love you all. I love you all for coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone.